as well rock and roll. We might as well rock and roll.
Yes, guys, good afternoon, evening or morning, wherever you're in around the world you are watching us today. I appreciate you all being here. We've got a special show today. We're going to be talking everything Liverpool, but I needed some help today, so I thought, who's the best in the world at doing this? And I thought, Errol, my old man Errol. Right, let's get him in. Errol, how you doing, man?
All good, brother, all good. Thank you for having us. It's a good time. I feel like there's been a lot of stuff that kind of can be unpacked in a lot of different ways in the Liverpool sphere this week. So, yeah, it's good to kind of finally get on the channel and chop it up with you and just see which side of some fences you sit on and see if there's any kind of middle ground in terms of key targets that we both think Liverpool should definitely be looking to kind of snap up while the window's still open. But other than that, bro, it's Friday. You know the settings, you know the vibe. So people, make sure you are smashing that like button. Make sure you're subscribing to my man's channel as well. Obviously, all the support that all these content creators have been pumping out all over the summer, it needs to be rewarded with some good, loyal community vibes. So yeah, make sure you're doing the admin and we'll keep providing you with the content. It's as simple as that.
Go, guys, as Errol says. Good, but better myself. Thank you very much. Yes, guys. So this is going to be... We're going to be just talking about all Liverpool transfers, how we see the rest of our summer going and stuff like that. But what I want to start with is this sort of news that's going around social media the last hour or so, Errol. I don't know if you've seen it.
Bro, I'm seeing things in the comments and I'm like, how legit is the comments?
In Saudi Arabia. Now, apparently, I don't know, according to some sources, I don't know, these people are talking codswallop half the time, but we've got to bring the news when we hear it. Saudi Arabia want Isak, and Isak apparently is interested. This is a very weird story of Alexander Isak this summer, isn't it? Because, look, I think we can all acknowledge he's a wonderful talent and a wonderful striker that a lot of teams would like. He's obviously a superstar player for Newcastle, and they don't want to let him go. But it does look like Isak has he looks like he wants to maybe spread his wings now and maybe go elsewhere, but you know, he's a Newcastle player locking him down. And now with these Saudi links, obviously Liverpool fans are now talking, hang on, what's going on with us? I don't know if you've seen it, Errol, but what do you make of all this Saudi links? It's kind of crazy.
This is breaking news to me, I'll be completely honest with you. The last hour, I have not been online in the same way that I usually would be in terms of keeping my finger to the pulse. So, first initial impressions are, I go back to what I said with Potts the other day. Newcastle getting the Champions League this season through a spanner in the works. Mm-hmm. I'm of the belief that there may have been a gentleman's agreement at some point last season with Newcastle and the owners to suggest, in the event that we don't hit the targets that we're setting for ourselves this year, this campaign, would you accept a bid for me surplus of 100 odd million? And I think they probably give him a little bit of a nod, a little bit of a gentleman's handshake, and said yes to that. And I think Newcastle finishing the Champions League places has kind of then made Newcastle feel as though, well, we're in a really strong position. What we agreed to was the basis that if we didn't hit this as a primary target, then we would at least listen to offers. And if the right offer came, we would part ways in an amicable way. Now, I don't think Isak's mind had changed irrespective of the Champions League position. I thought he felt if a club big enough with the prestige, a la Barcelona, Liverpool, Bayern, wherever in Europe, I would like to go to a top team. Saudi now, on the other hand, it stinks to me of that of PR. Like, I'll be dead honest with you. It just smells of bad PR based on the connection that Newcastle may have with that side of the world in terms of their owners. And they want to create this saga now in terms of, let's ramp up the price, let's ramp up the fee, and let's try and warden off any of those other European teams. The only suitable suitor is a super mega rich club. But let's be honest, Alexander Isak does not want to be playing in the Saudi Pro League. Like, again, and that's no disrespect to that league, but he's been eating up the Premier League for the last 2 years for fun. What do you think he's going to do over there? You know, so
it destroys it.
Yeah, he's too good in his prime to really want to be recognised as an unbelievable, well-beaten of a striker. We don't typically lose them in our prime. And when I say we, I'm talking about European clubs. Don't typically, you know, there will be the odd anomaly, John Durant, for example, that will go over there when you think, you know, they've got the world at their feet and they could go on to do great things in Europe for a big club. But I understand the money in the law for some players will be enough to tempt them into it. Whereas he just strikes me as someone that wants to be a legend at a big club. I think he wants to have his name up in lights. And not to say, again, this is no disrespect to Newcastle and the club that they are, because they are a great institution themselves. I think if you looked outside of the traditional 4, 5, 6, most people's favourite club in the Prem is Newcastle. Unless you're in that northeast rivalry bubble, Middlesbrough, Sunderland. Most people like Newcastle. You like the fans, you like the stadium, you like the atmosphere that they bring, and you like that they've got a little bit of chutzpah. Do you get me? They've just got a little bit to them that people can. I don't know if I can swear, but
they're that city that stick up for themselves, ain't they? And that's what people like
and
about
them. Scousers can resonate with that 100.
Yeah,
they might be more northern than us in east, but there is that regional energy that is similar, that we can recognise a little bit of us in them.
Working class cities, ain't it?
100%, mate. Yeah, absolutely nailed it there. So it's an interesting one. It's an interesting development. But I don't think we should take our eye off the ball. I don't think we should take our eye off the prize in respect of the news that's just dropped.
No. And also I think it is quite lazy journalism as well at times, because Newcastle, obviously, we've got Saudi owners. Would they sell basically to themselves? That sort of thing. It's just it's quite lazy like that. But I don't see that happening. As you say, he's a 26-year-old striker. Arguably, him and Haaland, you could argue, are the best in Europe at what they do. I think he's got eyes on Champions Leagues and league titles and stuff like that. So
that's not to say at some point he doesn't go for the big money. He's already had a relationship with Saudi owners in Newcastle. He could, 32, go over there and make a good living. But at this moment in time, he just strikes me as someone that is hungry for the game that we love. And again, I say that with the most respect to what goes on the continent. But in terms of the game that we love, it's Premier Leagues, it's Champions Leagues. Football players want to have as many of those in their locker, in their own little cabinet, come the end of their footballing career. So to not really have had enough of a taste and an appetite for that yet, I struggle to really buy into this particular development, if I'm honest.
Yeah, and then you've also got news of like Saudi after Vinny Jr., £305 million transfer fee and all that. It's crazy, isn't it? It's crazy.
Saudi do need a new marquee.
That's what they want. They want their marquee players.
They're not getting Salah, who there was a lot of speculation 12 months ago, nearly 2 seasons ago.
He'd be the biggest star.
He'd be the biggest star, yeah. Obviously, after Ronaldo, obviously with the religious affiliations, he would be a mega superstar out there. But obviously, Liverpool have done the business, and that's again not to say that Salah in 2 years doesn't end up in Saudi for 2 years.
His retirement.
Yeah, you know, a little.
Yeah.
That might become a thing again down the line. However, in the here and now, they need another marquee that can go toe to toe with what Cristiano Ronaldo has been bringing them. And again, that's a ridiculous bar to say, yeah, the next person has to come and hit Ronaldo levels because of the profile and the legacy that he's got in the world game. But it makes sense that they want to go and try and get a marquee player of some description to just keep eyes on what they're doing currently in the Saudi Pro League.
Yeah, definitely. And look, Liverpool are arguably looking at the Saudi league at the moment to sell Darwin Nunez, by the look of it. So they might want to keep good relations there as well because, you know, they're looking to let go of Darwin Nunez. But before I get into the Darwin stuff, this whole Isak stuff the last few days, Errol, I don't know how your head's been with it. I've been like, when we first heard the news that David Ornstein dropped that, you know, Liverpool have approached Newcastle about the available of Isak. Of course, we're all like, "Boy, what's going on? This is super exciting stuff." Like Liverpool trying to build a Galacticos for themselves, by the sounds of it. And then, obviously, we quickly pivoted for Ekitike, and that looks like that might be taking care of itself by this weekend. But nowhere has anyone said that Liverpool have given up on Isak. Now, I'm not saying it's going to happen this summer, but I think Liverpool got to keep very close eyes on this situation because Isak himself yet and his agent, I think, have said they've not sat down and spoke about a new contract yet. They put that on hold. Isak might be like, there's clubs like Liverpool wanting me. I've got 3 years left, going into 2 years next year. What was your thinking of all this situation, Errol?
I think he's the only player we go into a bidding war for.
Yeah, because we don't usually do that, do we?
No. As a rule of thumb, Liverpool don't typically get drawn into bidding wars for players. Like, for example, if Rodrygo was to go, if Rodrygo was to go this summer, and all of a sudden Chelsea threw the ring in the hat, Arsenal threw the ring in the hat, you know, Bayern threw the ring in the hat, we'd make that early approach. But if we sense that Madrid were going to start trying to play the game and do a bit of a bidding war, I do believe Liverpool would say, this is what we want for the player. If the player wants it, he comes to us, great. If he doesn't, then we're just going to close the door here. And Liverpool would set their stall out pretty early. They're very proactive in being able to do that. And I do believe that Liverpool wouldn't then get intertwined in the back and forth with Arsenal bidding and all that. That's my belief. However, with Alexander Isak, I do believe they would think, right, we've had some level of personal agreement terms. Maybe the player his agent might have suggested that they will. Newcastle now are going in for that bidding war between maybe potentially us and speculating at Barcelona. Barcelona, we know, aren't in a great financial shape, so let's just blow them out the water with a package we know they will struggle to be able to deliver on in a timely manner that's going to satisfy Newcastle. And that type of bidding war I could see Liverpool doing. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen this season, but I could see that if it gets kicked down the can till next season and Liverpool are successful in the season to come, still going to have a war chest to some description to say, you are the final bezel in this VVS that we're going for, and we want to be shining like a diamond, then yeah, I could see us trying to lock him off next year. I think for me, more than anything else, when it kind of broke, so again, I'm not no ITK. I don't profess to be no ITK. But doing this long enough,
we hear things.
Yeah. You get me? So I heard a little thing. And I'm one of them. I'll hear stuff, yeah. But I won't even post it like I know what's going on because I don't. No. You get me? And I don't want to be rubbing people up the wrong way. I don't want to you don't know. Once you put it out there to the universe, you don't know the repercussions and the ripple effects you're going to have. So I'd rather just keep my cards close to my chest and then see what happens. But 24 hours after I had been given a little nod, obviously the tier ones all came out with Liverpool are going to approach Isak. So I'm like, okay, so the source was sourced, and all right, I can work with that. Right, okay, so let me see the finer details. And again, at first I thought it's a great power move from Liverpool, but the more you look into it, and obviously as the time has gone, maybe actually give a little bit of kudos to Newcastle. Newcastle could probably sense that a bid was going to come, and they know who we're looking at and what we're doing and what kind of activity that we've got in the market. And they probably said, well, there's an opportunity there to kind of at least see the hand that Liverpool have got. And if we throw our ring in the hat for Ekitike, that's going to make them make the decision one way or another. And in terms of this season, the transfer window that Newcastle have been having, it's probably been the best defensive counter press that I've seen from them, because they've struggled in the market, and this could have really derailed their transfer window. So to get ahead of it and to say we can throw a bit of a spanner in the works, and we can actually throw a little bit of a smoke screen up, all of a sudden now it puts us into reaction mode, which is not a position that Liverpool typically like to be in. But Liverpool, I think, reacted like a boss. We tried to big bro them and say, well, look, if you're in for him, it's either we take him or we take him. Which one do you want? You can't have both, so which one do you want? So I respect Liverpool at the same time, because I said it already this week. I want to see us have that level of ambition. Like, it's not to say that you're going to go and get your man, and I understand that you're not going to get every, but to say he is our target, and that is the level that we want to attain the quality players of. It's slim pickings at the top. You even mentioned it at the top of the show. There's only Haaland, we can't get him, and there's probably him, top 2, top 3 in Europe at the moment doing what they do. So the fact that Liverpool are actively saying, we're good enough, so run us that player if we run you the P's, to me, it felt like, okay, that is a massive, massive statement of intent. And it also gave me the confidence to say, well, regardless of whether we get Isak, the 9 that we're getting is going to be a big boy signing. They're not going to be messing around. And then obviously I've seen the Mateta links, I've seen the Rashford links, I've seen all these other bits, but to me, that's a side plot. And again, try to say this as respectfully as possible.
To cut you off there, Errol, quickly.
No,
apparently, there's some news saying Isak has been reportedly given permission to discuss a move to Al Hilali.
See what I'm saying? See what I'm saying? The PR's PRing, bro. You know, that's Newcastle's way of saying, actually, maybe Liverpool are onto something with this Ekitike. And you know what? Run us a silly number, Liverpool. Just run us a silly number.
I think that's what it looks like.
Yeah, catch us on a good day. Just catch us on a good day with a silly number.
Because Newcastle have always said he's not for sale. A bit like Liverpool are doing with the Diaz situation. It's very similar. Yes. But they say he's not for sale, but then a sentence later they go, but they value him at 150 million. Which means, well, it's not for sale, but if you give us this much money, we ain't going to say no. So it's... And now all this Saudi stuff's coming in. It does look like it's a PR event for Liverpool to get their checkbook out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And someone else said to me the other day, and again, because I'm not a numbers guy, I don't know how true it is, but it would make sense. If Isak was to be sold for 150 M's, Newcastle can then financially spend up to 500 million.
They're sorted for the years to come, yeah?
So that's what I'm saying. So in one respect, we can get the Ekitike and we can still have 400 mil to spend on this wider squad, because PRS or whatever it is, PSR, whatever the term is, we're actually compliant. So as a result of now being compliant to it, that basically means, you know, we're in a better position, or we can at least put ourselves in a better position by going and getting, you know, 400 million pound players, 850 million pound players. It's when you're looking at it from a purely business perspective, as much as you want to keep hold of your top assets, and we was the same, we did not want to let Suarez go. We did not want to let Suarez go to Barcelona. We just finished second in the league. Do you get it? I'd said to him, yo, all we want to get is Champions League. He said to us, you get Champions League, I'll stay with you. We did it. But then Barcelona came and was like, well, actually, we really want him. We want MSN. So
I still think we sold him too cheap as well.
And we probably did. But it gave Liverpool the opportunity. And this is obviously before PSR and all the rest of it came in to really shape the way that transfers happen now. But it gave, and again, Liverpool's spending off the back of the Suarez money was horrendous, I will add. The only one that I really rate.
Big up Brendan.
It's Bobby Firmino. Bobby Firmino.
Yeah, but then Brendan played him right wing back. He didn't know what to do.
Oh, bro. So when you keep it, the logic was right. The execution was terrible. Liverpool seen that there was a better opportunity for us to build players that would fit into this squad that as a collective can take us up a level, as opposed to having one key guy that keeps us at the level, but we're only one injury away from being 6th and 7th, as opposed to having a Suarez that'll have us in a title race. And that's what Newcastle have got with Isak. Isak is the guy. He's the difference maker that gets them into Champions League.
He's their he's their Suarez at this moment in time.
Yeah, 100%. He's the difference between them being in Champions League or in Europa or Conference League more time.
Now, this leads us to the Ekitike thing. So
yeah.
There's been reports, I don't know, the last couple of days that Liverpool potentially wanted to try and get both. And I was talking about this yesterday on my show, and I was like, I don't think it's possible, right? But I don't know. I don't know what's possible with Liverpool this summer. I ain't going to lie, because they're doing things that we ain't seen for a while. But I think Liverpool have been sensible, like you said earlier. It's like they got a no from Newcastle, but it wasn't a final no. It was just not right now. Yeah. So Liverpool, instead of going through the whole summer trying to get Isak, and then you're left in the last couple of weeks scraping around looking for a striker because you desperately need one, because it looks like the club don't really want to keep
Jackson,
and end up with someone rough. The club have looked at it and gone, right, Ekitike's always been our number one choice anyway. We've always wanted him. We've liked him for a long time. They've gone, right, let's give him a call, get that in our pocket, look at him, get him in. If we get Ekitike in, because Liverpool, by the sounds of it, are trying to rush this through, just gone past the weekend, Monday, to try and get his transfer done. I think on Frankfurt's part as well, they want it all done because they're in pre-season right now as well. So they just want to get things moved on so they can spend the money. Then, when Liverpool got their striker, if they want to go for the rest of the summer trying to get Isak, they can feel more freely to do that because they got their striker in already, and it's not the end of the world if they don't end up with him.
The pressure and the constraints aren't the same. They're genuinely not, and Liverpool kind of alleviate that pressure valve in terms of getting business done and obviously prioritising players that are a lot more attainable, wrapping them up, understanding what the current contract situation is going to be, trying to get them into the squad at some point within pre-season, and then being able to say, he's a guy that's going to be good to go as long as he stays fit and there's no glaring injuries or anything in pre-season. He'll be good to go, and we just drop him in as the final piece to the puzzle. So I get Liverpool. Look. Edwards, he's the godfather of this right now. In terms of, there is a better sporting director in the country. He's miles clear.
Maybe in the world, to be fair. I mean,
it's not even a reach. Like, it's genuinely not. He is top tier right now in terms of what he does. A masterstroke bringing him back into the fold, but what I love, and again, I only love it because I feel vindicated in all fairness. But because we didn't go hell for leather last summer, as you mentioned, you're scraping around, you get this, that, the other coming through. Chiesa being the case, he's had a whole year to get his ducks in a row. He's had a whole year to identify who's doing what the movements are, what the temperature of each club and the reading the room. And he's put in such a crystal clear plan. Fullbacks, necessity. Let's get them in. Kirkes was pretty much done 3 weeks before the league was wrapped up. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was given. It's done. Same with Frimpong. And then Vert was the first one that came out of the blue. But how often can a team go bar for bar with Bayern Munich for a German player of the season, 2-time running, and come out on top?
Yes,
that doesn't happen unless you've got a proper top negotiator and people understanding of board level. It does not happen. So those, even though I had faith anyway, the way that we wrapped up Salah, the way that we wrapped up Van Dijk, I knew that it could only be a big summer, because those signings for me, or the re-signings of those contracts to me, signified we need to win now. And yes, I think for there was a period of time where I think when we went to sign them and put the offers in front of them, there was no guarantee we was going to win the league. But there was never a design to win the league this season. It was, a fortuitous circumstances that presented us the league, and Liverpool being fucking shit hot week in, week out in the Premier League. So we did the job. But the whole setup was geared towards win now from this summer onwards. That's how you've ended up keeping Van Dijk at the top of the game. That's how you've ended up with Salah. And that's why now we're bringing in pieces like a Vert, and we're having conversations for a Rodrygo, and we're looking to have conversations for an Alexander Isak. The bar has just been raised, people.
We're on that table where we always should be. Like we're on that table with the Real Madrids of this world and stuff, and that's where Liverpool should be. You know, I've always said it. Liverpool are the English Real Madrid. You know, that's how I always look at it, and that's how we should be shopping as well at times. I understand the way we used to buy before because Liverpool down a little bit and they were trying to build themselves back up. But once you built yourself back up, you want to stay at the top of the mountain.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
I'm not from London, first and foremost. I don't know why the chat's going on a little bit of a mad tangent. But the question that
I'm about to say Errol's as scarce as you can get, guys.
It is what it is. It is what it is. So it is what it isn't. But the question that I was just going to ask, and again, it's not to kind of bait you into one or the other because there is, very much a nuance and a grey area to it. But what was your genuine feelings from FSG? Probably the last 2-3 years. Where have you kind of been with them as an ownership?
So, I know there's a lot of people that FSG at no matter what. And they just don't rate them for any. I've never been like that. Okay. I've always been at the fact that I don't think any owner or any football club is perfect. They just can't be.
And I don't think they're squeaky clean either.
No, I don't.
Billionaire. You can't be a squeaky clean billionaire.
Show me a nice billionaire, and I'll show you a liar. Do you know what I mean?
Facts.
And you make money that way because you're stepping on little people at the end of the day. And I just look at it. I just want my football club to be the best that he possibly can and compete as fairly in football as you can these days, because there's so much. Look, we're talking about billions and billions of pounds floating around in the market. You got to be clean as you can be, and I think what FSG have tried to do is do everything the clean right way while competing against teams that allegedly may not be doing that. So, but there has been times where I think they've been a bit lazy. I do think under the last 2 years of Jurgen, I think they took advantage of Jurgen a little bit and thought, just let him do everything. And I don't think that's what football is today. I think a manager or a coach, whatever you want to call him, should just be that, a coach. They should be having their squad, concentrating their squad, building their squad, preparing their squad, training their squad. And they don't have to worry about everything else around it. You've got other people doing their jobs and you come together in one nice little muddle. And I think FSG at that time just didn't want to lose Jurgen, because I think losing Jurgen might have shown them up a little bit, and I think they wanted to keep him as much as they could. But I think the last year, I think bringing Michael Edwards, but I think what FSG have done the last 12 months is they've looked at it and gone, right, we worked well before when we had this guy in charge, this guy in charge, this guy in charge. FSG and John W. Henry, I think, like to work in the background. They like to be silent owners, basically. And they employ the people to run the football club. And I think that's what they've gone back to. They brought Michael Edwards back. He's actually a CEO for FSG. He's not really a Liverpool employee, is he?
Yeah.
But because he knows Liverpool so well in the backroom stuff and everything, they trust him to run the football club pretty much. Richard Hughes looks like now a fantastic appointment as sporting director. Mm-hmm. And Arne Slot, I mean, what a great choice.
Well, that was my next question.
What a great choice.
What was your initial feeling when it was Slot? I'll be honest, I had what's the guy's name? Is it Flick? Is he the Barca manager? Is it Flick the Barca manager? Am I right in saying? Whoever the Barca manager, I think it is Flick.
I can't bloody.
I want to say the Barcelona manager is Flick. Barcelona manager.
What's his name? The German guy, isn't it?
So it is Flick then, isn't it?
I can't remember his bloody name now.
Who? Hansi Flick. It is.
Hansi Flick. There you go.
So I was in my head. I knew where I was on about. he was the name in my mind that I was like, I could see that. And obviously, again, I feel happy that he's went on and done good things with Barca to say, all right, he was never going to be washed. And that Barca have had their own issues internally and being able to structure contracts and players. So I thought Alonso just sounded too romantic. Do you get me? Like it almost felt too good to be true that Alonso would be,
a man who knows the club, comes back to the club,
all the rest of it. Yeah. So for me, it was like, right, boom. Now, if we can get someone like Flick, I didn't know Slot, and this is where I sit with like some Ekitike. I don't know enough about him. I don't watch bro. I'm busy. you get it? Like, I love Liverpool. I love watching Liverpool football.
Yeah, watching every other league.
I ain't watching. I ain't got time for that. Like, don't big up all the content creators that have got time for that and do enjoy watching other leagues and all the rest of it. Great. I don't even play FIFA. Back in the day, I wish I did this stuff when I was like 21, 22.
Yeah,
I would have been able to waffle so much more about players that I had never seen kick a ball, but I had played with them on FIFA at least once or twice and was like, I know how they move.
I think that's how a lot of people get their information. To be fair,
I do, and obviously since it's been a good 6 years that I've actually picked up a pad and played FIFA. So my knowledge of players that aren't automatically exposed to me by the Champions League or the Premier League, my knowledge is limited, and I don't try and pretend it's anything other than that. But what I do have faith in is the Richard Hugheses of this world and the Michael Edwards, and if they got this idea of talent that can spot in individuals and in players, actually, there's something there. They can get something out of these players. And my only objective for Slot was we've just done an overhaul of midfield. You know, we've got quality players in attack. Players that I believe are quality, and I know we're going to touch on the Nunez stuff in a moment. But it all basically boiled down to, I still think there's more out of a Diaz. I think there's more out of a Nunez. I think there could be more out of a Szoboszlai and Alexis McAllister. I haven't seen enough of Gravenberch. You get me an extra 10, 15%, and we was fighting till March last year. Can that extra 10, 15% amongst the collective get us over the line? Potentially. If City's at its best, it's difficult, but potentially there's enough winners in there to push City in a title race. And if City fall off, it almost then gives you an incentive to be that extra 10 and 15%. So that was my only real expectation, and I kind of set my stall out on that early. But it's just interesting to see, because I think, you know, people in the chat already kind of alluded to it. The FSG outers are going to have a lot to really struggle about. Yes, little man.
Where's he gone? Where's he?
A little magician. Yo, Coutinho's been locked up just.
You all right, mate? What are you after?
Oh, big up.
All right, go. Go on. Get out of here. I'll talk to you later. Love you, mate.
Oh, nah, look, that's quality. It's right, man. So yeah, it's just interesting to see. But yeah, now it's business time. I'm glad we've got some serious people back on our boardroom.
Oh, definitely. And I think I was live talking about what manager we're going to get after Klopp left, and I think I was live at the time, and breaking news went out that Arne Slot was the bookie's favourite all of a sudden out of absolutely nowhere. And I was like, where do I know the name of Arne Slot? I know that name. And obviously Tottenham tried to get him the year before, didn't they?
He was on like an 11-man list.
Yeah.
That turned down Tottenham, yeah.
And he turned down Tottenham. I remember then his final team got to the European final, the Conference League final against Roma, I believe, and lost that final to Roma. He won the league. So I did my research on him, like we all probably did, because we weren't physically knowing of him. And when I did my research of him, I was like, do you know what? This might be an excellent coach. He might be this new breed of coaches that are coming through right now, and he's one of the top ones. And when he came to Liverpool, and I saw him pre-season, when I watched us pre-season last year, I was like, okay, I see what this guy's about. You know, there's a lot of Klopp about him as well, because that's what the way Dutch managers like to play, very similar to German managers. Yeah. But I could just see the tempo of play, and I was like, I like that tempo of play. I love the Jurgen play. Don't get me wrong, the end-to-end in 2 seconds, constant pressure and all that, but it does tire footballers out. I've always said it. I think Jurgen Klopp needs like a 30-man squad to constantly play the way he would, and he'd win everything all the time, you know, because just the way he plays, and everyone would run for a brick wall for him. But with Slot, I saw the fact that it was very similar, but slowed down the tempo. It weren't, you know, there was maybe a 3 press, 1 stays, 2 press, 1 stays. You know, it was a bit more build up through the midfield. And as watching him through the season, I'm like, I love this guy. And what I think a lot of people have loved about Arne Slot right now, how he's dealt with the Diogo situation. His words last week were just beautiful, and the calmness he brings to the football club, you know, the calmness he's given to the lads out there. I don't think, Errol, we could have asked for a better manager after Jurgen, personally.
Yeah, it's weird that you say that, because I think you're absolutely spot on, to be honest with you, mate, because managers can come in and take the reins of, be the successor to a really strong manager, and that's one things, and kick a team on. That does happen. In 12 months, 18 months, that's kind of the lifeblood of football. You replace someone great with somebody else great, and you keep the train on the tracks and you keep moving forward. But in terms of we had a player that was one of our own in the club that was going into his last year of his contract. You've been given the keys to a club that's massive, that's back in the Champions League, that hasn't spent a lot of money and you've not panicked under that as an initial, there's your induction. You've got 3 big contracts that you need to sort. And I think it was understandable to an extent that nobody knew how well it was going to work. So how can you commit your future to something that you're stepping into the unknown? It'd be the same for a lot of people if he was getting offered jobs or promotions. You're going to get a promotion, but that manager's leaving, that staff member's going. It's like, oh, well, it sounds like a promotion, but it sounds like I'm going to be doing a lot more work. No manager in world football has had to deal with the level of complexity, the emotional, I'm trying to really think about my words, the emotional kind of demands and reconciling the loss of a football player in their prime, as well as having the highs of the winning, the Premier League, getting to 20 in the way that Slot has. And I think in terms of an audition, and again, I'm not saying it was an audition for that first year, but if in terms of a probationary period, the guy has got so much. Remember Rafa? We knew it was all or nothing on that Champions League. Second he got us that Champions League, he had credit in the bank. There can be mistakes, there can be missteps, there can be bum signings. Not to say that we want them things, but we trust in you completely to be able to take us to the next level, get us in a title race, get us to win more silverware. And Slot's done that times 10, times 20. And the club is in such a better place than when it ever was when Rafa was in charge at the helm. And I just think it just gives us that reassurance that, what? As hard as it is to say it, things will be okay. And we as a football club and as a football family will come together. We'll find the right time to tribute and mourn. It's okay. You'll give us permission to find the right time to celebrate and be happy. And giving that permission to the players and to the fans, it was like a weight was lifted and nobody then felt guilty for being Liverpool football fans first again. Definitely. And it's such a hard, there's no handbook to navigate that. There is no guidebook. There's nothing. It's just got to be authentic, genuine and heartfelt, but it's got to resonate with millions of people around the world. And in one statement, he encompassed all of that. And it takes a very special person to do that. And I think Jurgen Klopp is a special human being. Yeah. Liverpool typically give us special managers because we're a special club. And I genuinely believe that, Arne Slot in that first season has dealt with stuff that it would be it'd make a lot of people crumble. And that's not just the stuff on the pitch, but the external stuff and putting the two together. It's just really solidified his bond with us as fans.
Yeah, definitely. And he's getting his team there as well,
That's the beautiful thing, yeah.
Kirkes in, who I think is a fantastic left back. Frimpong and Conor Bradley in that right back area. I think, you lose Trent. I won't obviously go into the Trent stuff because everyone's so 50-50 on that Trent stuff still. But you lose a quality footballer in Trent. And what I love the football club done, they went, you know what, Conor Bradley, new contract, long-term deal, he's going nowhere. And we go straight for Frimpong, a player I really rate. I've watched him quite a few times, especially for the Dutch national team. I really rate him as a player. And I think, it's almost the old-fashioned fullbacks that Liverpool had with Robbo and Trent a few years back then. Pace, agility, technical ability running forward. And I love that. Then he's obviously gone and got Wirtz. I mean, that's just arguably the best player you can buy. But apart from Alexander Isak, I don't think there's a better player you can buy this transfer window than Florian Wirtz. And, and now we're looking to let players go because obviously there's players at the club at Arne Slot might not rate, or you have to balance the books. This is business at the end of the day as well as football. And they're looking for, And we bring us to Darwin Nunez, Mr. Darwin Nunez, who's
This is where we might differ. I'll be real with you. This is where we might have a little. You know what I'm saying?
Darwin chat, I think, differs with everyone. To be fair, so with Darwin, look, he's had the most up and down 3 years of any Liverpool striker, but still be heavily loved by a lot of the fan base. Some of the fan base don't understand it. Some of the fan base love him. It's that Marmite thing with Darwin. I think the right time for him to leave is now, because I think he looks a little bit down and as well last season. I don't know if Slot completely he's his kind of striker. I think Slot likes a link-up striker who can play deep and score. He likes
that was my big question for a long of last season. I don't think any of our nines last season were the mould of what Slot wanted.
No.
So my big question on a lot of watch-alongs was, what's that guy going to look like? And obviously people were like, Isak would be perfect, and I can see the talent in Isak, so it's a no-brainer. But outside of an Isak, if he was designing him, what does it look like? And I agree with your statement there that Darwin doesn't fall into that mould for me enough.
No, and if we're looking at Ekitike, what I've seen of Ekitike myself, his strongest point is actually link-up play. And that is his strength. And I can see why Arne Slot might like someone like him. But with Darwin, he's going to leave the football club. Liverpool are doing everything they need to do by getting the right deal for Darwin Nunez to let him go. I like Darwin. I'm not going to sit here and slag him off. I don't think he's the best footballer in the world. I think that's fair to say. I think there's things to his game that he's limited with. I think with Darwin as well, I think he's a bit immature at times. If that's, I think maturity-wise, I don't think he's the most mature on the pitch at times. But I think he's a very emotional-driven footballer. And you have to play in a certain way for Darwin. And I don't think the last 2 years Liverpool play to the strengths of a number 9.
No, I agree.
Because you got Mo Salah there. Mo Salah, it's a weird one with Mo Salah, because you could argue Mo Salah is a number 9 that plays right wing.
Yeah.
So your strengths are playing towards Mo Salah most of the time. But Liverpool need to let Darwin go. Will he go this summer, Errol? What's the price? Where's he going? Napoli's out of the question there. Is it Saudi or bust? Is that what we're looking at right now?
It could be Saudi or bust. One thing that I will say, though, and again, this is me reading between lines and making my own narrative. Not because I've got an agenda, but this is just a narrative that I could see. There comes a moment in every man's life, and I like Spider-Man, innit? Do you get me? I'm a bit of a Marvel guy. You get me? I'm a bit of a Marvel guy. There are canon events. So Uncle Ben doing what Uncle Ben does in every iteration of Spider-Man changes Peter Parker to become the type of Spider-Man that is your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. And I genuinely believe this summer Darwin has had a major canon events in his life. And I think the comment you made about him being a little bit childish, you still want to be able to touch into your inner child. You never really want to lock the box on that, because you might become a very old, miserable human being. But being able to
I know some.
yeah, real talk. But being able to harness it, however, and knowing that there's a level of maturity that comes off the back of those canon events in life, I think, and this is the matter, it doesn't matter where Darwin plays this season coming, I think he's going to have a brilliant season as a footballer. I genuinely do. And I would love that to be a Liverpool Football Club. Does he have enough trust of Slot? Again, I take your point, and I don't think he probably does.
No.
Is he going to be good enough to be, and it's not necessarily good enough, is he going to be consistent enough? I don't necessarily think he is going to be consistent enough for Liverpool, but I think he will get bums off seats for another team potentially this summer, this season coming. He will be exciting, and he will score a bag of goals. I think he probably, again, the narrative being, he probably looks at the talent that we've lost in a Jota and how naturally gifted in front of goal he was and calm and composed, and says, if there's an idol that I want to replicate, I want to be more like him. And the only way that I can do that is by working hard in certain areas that people have probably been telling me, and I've probably just let it wash over me for a while. And again, that's me trying to be glass half full, looking for, you know, a real positive for the lad, because I do really like him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, there's something there of him as a player.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that. It's just, I think, look, some players don't suit countries they play in as well. You know?
And there's that they can,
You know, like it
completely
wouldn't
agree
shock
with you.
me if he went to Italy or Spain or something like that and he starts scoring goals. Look,
well, I said Atletico Madrid. My thing was he needs to go to. If he went to Atletico, he needs a 6
it
month
would
loan.
suit him. I think
the crown.
Simeone would love Diego. Would love Darwin. I think he would absolutely love him.
Yeah,
I think he'd love him because he's got that fiery South American flair as well, and I think he would love that kind of footballer. And yeah, I think I look at someone like Aspas. Like Aspas came to England, didn't work. You know, we all know the worst corner of all time, and but he goes to Spain. I think he won the Golden Boot that year, didn't he?
yeah.
So, and it suited his style more. It suited his ability and style and the way he is as a footballer. And look, I think that will happen with Darwin. I hope Darwin all the best, man. I can, you know, I do think there's a player there. Unfortunately, it just weren't with Liverpool, and Liverpool move on, and it looks like it's going to be Hugo Ekitike right now. Which, again, as I said, I've seen him quite a few times. So I'm excited about the transfer. I think he will settle well, and it'll be a good bit of business from Liverpool Football Club. I still think at the end of the day as well, I don't think this Isak stuff's completely dead at the moment either. So
No,
I think
I don't.
that's one to watch.
I don't think it's dead at all.
Even if it's not this summer and it's next summer, I think it's, yeah, I think Liverpool could be working on something there. But yeah, the last bit of news, obviously, Luis Diaz, the Luis Diaz situation. Interesting one here with Luis Diaz. He obviously had, for me, his best year for a Liverpool player last season.
Yeah.
In the
end.
Yeah, I've never been I don't know about you, Errol, but I've never been the biggest Luis Diaz fan.
Oh, well, I'm glad it's not just me.
I don't think he's like. At times, I think Cody Gakpo can give me a little bit more on that left-hand side of the pitch.
He's just more effective.
And I look at Luis Diaz and I think, like, sometimes I'm like this. From the halfway line to the penalty box, I think Luis Diaz is a better player.
Yes.
From the penalty box to goal, I think I get more from Cody Gakpo,
Sure.
if that makes sense. But last season, I think Luis Diaz performed pretty well. And obviously, he's on this contract that no one knows what he's on. You hear different rumours all the time. One person says on 55 grand a week. Another person, I think I was reading someone from the Echo the other day saying they reckon he's on around 140 grand a week. I've never seen a footballer with a wage that no one actually knows what Diaz is on.
Yeah.
He's obviously not on enough money for his liking anyway.
Yeah.
At the end of the day. Apparently, reports coming out today while we've actually been live is that he's not actually begging Liverpool to let him go, but he actually really fancies now to move on to Bayern Munich. Do you see this still being done? Liverpool know Bayern Munich have got more money than they've been offering so far, so I think that's why they're haggling for more.
Yeah.
Do you see it being done in the end?
I do, yeah, personally. I think there's it's hard because Diaz is he's the bracket under the Verts and the Isaks for me. And the money that you're going to get for him is still going to be 65, 70 plus. I can imagine Liverpool probably accept them in and around 70 mil for him. I think on the basis of that, he's hard to replace because in terms of the contract length, or not necessarily the length, the actual package, let's say it's middle ground, split the difference. Say he's on 70, 80 grand a week. For a player to be in the second tier under that on 80 grand a week is ridiculous. Most players in that tier are already on plus 150, 160 grand a week. Yeah. So in terms of value for money, completely agree with what you say. Last season, it was fine. It was good enough. Did Slot get the extra 15% out of him? Probably not. Did he get an extra 5? Yeah. 5, 7, 10% maybe, tops. Is that going to be enough for us to kick on? Not if we don't have... We need 2 killers. Bobby wasn't a killer, but Bobby did enough by chipping in and helping facilitate the other killers to be the killers.
He was the system, as Klopp used to say.
Exactly. Diaz with somebody lightweight in terms of a Gakpo through the middle, a Chiesa through the middle, and Ekitike being a bit of a gamble, a bit of a risk, an unknown quantity through the middle. Does it really take us? Does that then put too much strain on Wirtz to come and hit the ground running and have to be, the second piece that really is the gem? Salah then has to go and replicate what he's done another season, a year older, AFCON in the mix and all those things. I think there is a point where Liverpool can say no. There's a little bit of dissettlement over in Real Madrid. Rodrygo wants out. Bayern are either going to get Rodrygo or Diaz. Let's just do the dominoes effects and let's kind of find a way to move Diaz on. And I don't necessarily think that that's all that much of a bad thing, if I'm honest with you.
And to be fair, I think Diaz's best performance probably came from the number 9 position in the left wing last season.
Yeah, he gets the hat trick, doesn't he, against Leverkusen?
And he was more of the link player that Slot was probably looking for more than that gunman in that position. So yeah. I mean, I think Slot himself, I do think he preferred Cody off that left hand side.
I do.
And look, to be fair as well, Cody only played left wing last season. Obviously, Jurgen was playing him in multiple different positions to try and get the best out of his abilities. But Slot just sees him as a left winger, and that's where he's played. And I like Cody, and Cody's blonde now, so the league better watch out next season.
I know, blonde.
This is some news from Alex Crook. I've just seen it on Twitter as well. Big up Scraps, letting me know as well. If Liverpool were to sell Luis Diaz, he personally is saying he would expect them to ramp up their interest in Rodrygo. Rodrygo's the interesting one, Errol. Like, he hasn't actually played left wing properly for 4 years. He has played right. He played, I think, a few games last season when Vinny Jr. was injured for about 7 or 8 games. But apart from that, he's played right wing for 4 years. He says he prefers playing left wing. Is that someone Liverpool really are looking at? I think Michael Edwards, I believe, tried to get Rodrygo from Santos when he was young. If that is the story is true there. I think Rodrygo's actually told that story himself that Liverpool came in for him, but he wanted to finish his exams or something like that, and then miraculously ended up at Real Madrid a few weeks later.
Yeah.
Do you think there's someone Liverpool would go back in for now? I think he's 24, 25. It's around the age Liverpool are looking at.
This is what I'm talking about. Those
the Andy Gordon rumours are there as well. I mean,
it's fine margins at that level for me. And when you're paying 50 mil to get Noni Madueke, and then you could throw an extra 20 mil, 25 mil, and get yourself a Rodrygo, to me, that's just a no-brainer in terms of business. He probably, and it's not by big margins, but he probably does sit in just that little bracket above Diaz for me in terms of just in terms of the expectations that I'd be looking to bring. He's played the top level players for a long time. Diaz didn't. He had came and was explosive, but he came from a Porto team where he was, the guy, one of the best players for them. Rodrygo hasn't, and it's time for him now to step out of certain players' shadows and kind of craft his own legacy in world sport. I think he's an unknown quantity, but I think he gives other people more headaches. I think he's another one where you say, right, we're doubled up on Salah. We've got to have the DM on Wirtz, man to man. And now we've got him on the other wing. And then there's still, at least one centre-half trying to keep one eye on whoever's going through the middle. I think in terms of another statement player, I think he fits that mould for me. And he would be my first choice, if I'm being completely honest with you. He'd be someone that I was like, right, let's go for him and see how we get on.
Yeah, I mean, left wingers, I don't think there's a great lot of left wingers around Europe.
It's not the left wing market. It's almost as bad as the striker market, mate. It's so dry.
It's dry. Would Anthony Gordon know?
No.
Anthony Gordon's name.
No. I don't even. No, go on. I'll let you say what you say.
Like, Liverpool apparently always liked it. Apparently, so the rumour, you might know this a little bit, being a bit closer to the story, that Liverpool were very close in buying him last summer.
Yeah.
Like, extremely close. I think Anthony Gordon himself even told everyone at England training that he was off. He was going to Liverpool. Now, apparently he's a red as well, and although he played for the Blues, but he is a red as well. He would probably just drive tomorrow to Liverpool if he could get that move. There's no doubt about that.
Newcastle.
But do Liverpool
Newcastle
still
have-
hold that same affection for him like they did last year? Have they moved on now?
We'll have an affection for him. I don't think he had the best season last season. There will be a level of an affection for him. But Newcastle they've just put a bounty on his head. That's just too much for me to.
You can get Rodrygo cheaper, probably.
That's what I'm saying, bro. Like, how are we gonna? He for me was a 35 million, 40 million pound signing. And if then we done that and wanted to bring another Scouser back into the team, back into the fold, I would have been all day. That's fine. That's sound business. Bring the lad home. Expecting us to pay 70 M's for somebody that's been living off the same gas and air that I've been living on since I was that can't happen. That to me is that's bad business. So I just think Gordon has been priced out of, especially in terms of when you're trying to price match the market for the value of the player.
Yeah.
If he was at Liverpool, would he be worth 70 mil after a good season? Yes.
Yeah.
But he's not at Liverpool. He hasn't had a good season, and I can't justify paying. There is no, and again, I love me and my Scousers. No Scouser on earth is worth 70 million pounds. We're priceless. We are priceless, yo. But we're not worth 70 million pounds. So I just can't get behind it. I can't back it.
No. I think Liverpool have moved on. I think the year before, after he had that very good season with Newcastle, you can see it making a bit more sense. But now, where Liverpool are looking now, it looks like Liverpool are in a market where they're trying to buy off the top shelf, basically.
Yeah,
and
I don't blame you.
That's where they want. As I said, John W. Henry was on that parade bus getting pissed up, and he enjoyed it. And he's like, I want this every year now. So what do I have to do? And it looks like he's just gone and opened up his checkbook and gone, right, let's just do this stuff. And let's get the best in class stat, because we've got the best in class. We've got some of the best players in the world in their positions, like Virgil, Salah and Ali. Let's build around that and really go for things while we can. Power and strength and all that,
Yeah,
Premier League champs.
It's exactly, and that's it. I think unfortunately with it being COVID and all the rest of it, we didn't. And again, that could have been part of the factoring in for the thinking, but we didn't capitalize on it. We didn't say this could be our era. And I think we've looked around, and again, having the Richard Hughes, and they've probably looked at them and went, well, do you know what? City's business is still a little bit ropey. There's no guarantees that Pep's got the energy. We've seen Jurgen Klopp, top manager, even admit he's been out. Yeah, Pep's still at the helm, but is he the same Pep?
He didn't look right at the World Cup.
Has he still got that hunger? And I'm sure he'll have a bit of a rest and a break, and he'll go again. But is there that internal desire to be
Errol? I don't think Pep rests.
He might not. Do you know?
He looks like he's got. I reckon he just drives his wife army. You can see him doing tactics with the dinner.
Yeah. Getting the formation of all of the broccoli's got to be there. Weighed out. Everything's meticulous. But does he have that? Do the squad share that same? And what I think is probably the most interesting thing, well, not even the most, but an interesting thing that they have went and done is the tapping up of Kolo Toure as backroom staff.
Yeah.
To me, that just screams we need some vibes back in this, and we need some feel-good factor, because it's been too serious. It's been too militant.
She's not giving me back.
Okay, don't just ignore her.
It's my pen.
Huh?
It's my pen.
Go and tell Mummy.
No, she's not here.
Where's Mummy gone? I'll sell it in 5 minutes, I promise. Okay.
Oh, you've got to love them.
Kids, man, they don't care. But
I swear, it's felt too militant from a City. And again, I have got no close affiliations to Manchester City in that respect. But from the outside looking at it, it's felt very militant. So having someone like Kolo Toure coming in there to be a bit of a lift when things aren't always so serious might be a good little bit of business.
I bet that's one serious club to play for, man. It must drive you mad. I mean, I look at City and I'm like, I watch them in the World Club Cup farce, and they still look a bit soft. They still look like you can have a go at them, and really, they look like they can see goals. And I look at it as well, the players that Pep needs for the style of football and the system he plays. I don't think them players are out there now.
They're not.
That's the problem.
Not.
he's not going to have the City squad that he had in the past, like a few years. They're just not out there, and
He still needs.
I think that's going to drive him balmy because he's just that kind of guy.
Yeah.
He's just so metric in that way. I think that's going to it's going to make him go balmy, and I think Arteta's quite similar to Pep like that, and. But he's got the players at the moment, which I think they're going to be our nearest challengers next year is Arsenal.
Well, I mean, I know that we're going to stay live for a little bit after 7 and obviously jump over to the Red Cartel. But that'll be part of the conversation because if they go and get that Gokares, the expectation
goes through the roof.
It just goes through the roof. You've got to raise me a bit of silverware. But I'm sure we'll get into that in the next half an hour. So, yeah, there's a lot going on, man. There's a lot going on, and I'm happy about it. I'm positive. I feel as though Liverpool are leaving themselves in a very strong position, and we're not leaving any stone unturned this summer in terms of those, because there's not many of them. So you may as well go and inquire for the top of the top talent. And we've got the best centre back in the world. We've got arguably the best goalkeeper. We've got one of the best right forwards. We're going to go and try and lock off a good left winger. And we're asking the right questions about who wants to be the guy leading that line.
It's an exciting time to be a Liverpool fan right there. There's no doubt about it. This summer's going to be no exception. Before we leave it here, guys, apparently, breaking news, El Hilali will bid €300 million for Alexander Isak with a salary of £500,000 a week.
It just keeps getting better and better.
That's just bonkers to me. It's just I just don't see it. I really don't see it happening at all. But Errol, I do appreciate all this, man. You coming on and jumping on, chatting everything Liverpool, which I absolutely love. Before we leave, I just want to ask you. I always ask my guests this when they come on first time. What was your earliest, fondest Liverpool memory? What made, apart from being a Scouser, obviously, what made you fall in love with Liverpool?
I was quite lucky. I think when I was a kid, my mum worked with somebody whose husband worked in the ground, and I got to be a ball boy for I think it might have been an academy game or the reserves that were doing it, and just being at Anfield was just special. Honestly, I would lie if I told you I remember what the game was, but I just remember being there pretty young. I couldn't have been more, and I got a little bit of a wage as well off the back of it, and I was just like, listen, this is a special thing to do, you know what I mean? Get to be a ball boy. Went to the shop, because back then there was the Mackies of the shop in Anfield. I went to the club.
Yeah, there was a Mackies in Anfield, weren't there?
Yeah, in the club.
Where the boot room cafe is?
Yeah.
I swear I always remembered that when I was a kid going past it.
Yeah, so back in the day, there was that. And I just remember getting a little bit of food from Mackies and was able to get a little size 1 or 2 football. And it was just those type of things. And then I think as I got a little bit older, it was more I didn't get to go to a lot of games when I was a kid, I'll be honest. I never really got to go to a great deal of games, but there was a couple of particular moments or particular games that I got to go to or I was taken to. And players like Owen, Heskey, Fowler, young Gerrard, it just felt like you could play on the biggest stage and you can actually be from here. Because I didn't see, again, only watching a limited part of the league, I didn't necessarily see Arsenal lads or London lads play for Chelsea or other clubs and other teams. So for me, it was just the fact that you could be in Liverpool, be from Liverpool, and then also be able to actually represent Liverpool, and the sky would be the limit. And I think that was always special. It meant to me that like Liverpool people scout us as superstars. Like, you've got a superstar team, and if you are from the city, like, you can the top of the ceiling. There is no ceiling for where your talent can take you. And I think that was always something that really stuck with me. And look at us now. We've obviously we've just lost the Scouser, but that Scouser won everything with us.
Yeah.
I'm saying there are other Scouser in the team still, Curtis Jones. So that has been, I'm 33. That has been a track record for all of my life. There's been a passing of the guard of you can be Scouse, but you can be at the top athlete in world football, because Liverpool Football Club will facilitate that for you. And there are very few clubs in the world that have that ability, in my eyes anyway.
Love it, man. Love it. I always tell everyone, because I'm obviously from London, I the reason I support Liverpool is because my dad was a massive Liverpool fan. grew up in like the 70s, supporting Liverpool and all that when they were winning everything. And I remember. I remember watching big up Gal, man. Much love, man. Much love. I was watching
Ask if a gal, if you're free at 7 o'clock, I need an Arsenal fan, bro.
there you
Pull
go.
up. A gal,
There you go.
pull up, bro. Hit me up on a DM if you've got half an hour. I need to speak to an Arsenal fan.
Big up,
Go on,
Gal.
sorry,
Big up,
sorry,
man.
sorry.
Get in touch, man. I was sitting there in 1989. It used to be called, because I'm 40. I don't know. I don't look it, but I'll be 44 this year in a couple of weeks' time. And I was sitting there with me old man, and in 1989, and he was watching the Liverpool game, the Liverpool Arsenal game, the big match night TV. Yeah, 1 second. Oh, the big match night TV. The big match night TV. It was Liverpool Arsenal. Obviously, we had to lose by 2 goals to actually lose the league.
Yeah.
And he had one of them big old fashioned. Do you remember the big old fashioned pub ashtrays? Yeah.
Yes.
He had one of them, and when we lost, he threw it at the telly until it just exploded.
Whoa.
And I sat there thinking, because I was like about 9 years of age there, and I was sitting there thinking, right, if that much emotion has brought out my dad, I'm going to support the same club my dad does, and it's just been since then, since 1989. And obviously, I didn't realise I saw one league title, obviously in 1990, and then took a long time, obviously, to see the next two, but. You know, if it weren't for my dad, I don't know what I would have done. So, yeah, I always have to thank my dad for that, man. Showing how much it meant to him to support Liverpool Football Club. Yeah. And how the kids have got it all. Yeah, man.
I'm the same. I'll pass it down to my lad. And big up, Egal. I know you've just had a new boy.
Yeah, he's had a new little one, hasn't he?
For the congratulations. So, no, completely understand it. But, yeah, if we can do it again this season, bro.
Yeah, man, back to back. That's what I'm saying, man.
Back to back. we deserve it. Well, I say we haven't kicked the ball yet, but I feel already that Liverpool,
we deserve it, Errol.
We deserve those type of things. Like back to back is something
we deserve all the nice stuff. Yeah, we deserve all the nice stuff. 100%. Right, guys, listen, we're going to end it there, but I'm redirecting this over to Redmen TV 2.
We'll be live. Yes.
So, guys.
We'll be live in about 20 minutes, people. So go get a drink, go relax, go chill out, and then come back because Arsenal fans are going to get cooked. Nah, I'm only messing. I've got a new Arsenal fan. We're not going to do no cooking, but we're going to be doing interrogating. We've got to ask them.
Interrogating. There we go.
We've got to interrogate them. United fans the same way, and then of course Liverpool fans.
I'm over there as well, guys. So make sure you're all coming over. I'll go redirect after this. So make sure you go over there, get yourself a cup of tea, get a cold drink, whatever it is, and.